Whether you like to play your games real loud on your PC or your consoles, or maybe you like to listen to your music real loud, or watch your movies real loud, but you don't want to bug the people around you, you can't use your speakers, you can use headphones. And in this video, we're going to be doing a review of the Fifine H9 gaming headset and the Fifine H6 headset. Both sound amazing. One is obviously going to be better than the other, and one is going to be obviously cheaper than the other as well. That might actually surprise you on which of the two. But regardless, let's get started on the review. Here we are again, the Fifine Ampligame H6 7.1 surround sound. You can see them a little bit here. UPC, serial number, model number, all that stuff over here. Ampligame, nothing along the bottom or top really. Along the back, some of the specifications and features, manufacturer, RGB, all that good stuff here. All right, so here we have the Ampligame H6 gaming headset. This is going to be a guide or instruction manuals for this pair of headphones. You don't have to worry too much about this. We're going to go over all of it in this video. Then just removing this, just for now, we have the omnidirectional detachable microphone. See that right there. And right over here. Looks here kind of ribbed, feels plastic coated, so that's nice. Maybe kind of rubberized coated. And then down here as well. And you can bend this and everything. All right, so coming over here, first thing we want to remember, these are a pair of 7.1 surround sound headphones. So with that said, they are USB 2.0. We can see that over here. And they are very nice and tightly braided over here in gray. The cable is about 92 inches, almost 8 feet. Then coming up over here, we can find the controller. So once connected, you can disable and enable the 7.1 surround sound. Over here is the equalizer. This allows you to switch between movie, game, and music mode. Then over here, we can mute or unmute the microphone. And coming up over here, we can find the headphones themselves. Right over here is where we would attach the microphone. So with the TRRS connection right over here, we'll just connect that right here. Then here we have the headphones. We'll come back to that in a little bit. Over here, we can see their little logo right over here, which looks like a little smiling face. Then coming up over here, we'll find where the headphones connect into the head strap. Actually pretty common. Little L over here, letting you know this is the left ear cup. And one thing I noticed right when I pulled this out of the box, this is incredibly light. So the website, Amazon, and everything, they're all a little off. So I figured what better way to do this than to do a live weighing. 340 grams, let's say. The website is showing 330. So still, no matter what, taking it out of the box, these are incredibly light. They seem to be made out of nice materials. They bend around nicely. This is the first time I've done this part, so kind of doing this part with you live, which is cool because then we can see if anything breaks live. They seem very, very, very durable. This is kind of like a steel material, feels like steel kind of finish. You can see that right there. And it goes right into here. These are adjustable as well. Nothing new on that, of course. And you see the swivel here. The head cups they don't feel tight, they feel very potentially comfortable. This is kind of like a leatherette, and right in here is a mesh-like material. The headband itself is that same kind of mesh leatherette material, and you can see the braiding right over here, and it does have cushion down here, so I think it'll be comfortable. I don't know just yet. They have a microphone sensitivity of -40 dB, give or take 3 dB, and the headphones, the headset drivers, are 50 millimeters dynamic as well, with a headset impedance of 32 ohms, the headset sample rate of 48 kilohertz, with a headset frequency response of 20 hertz all the way up to 20 kilohertz. And you'll notice for the microphone, right in here, there's a teeny tiny indentation. And that's going to go ahead and line up with the indentation right over here. So what we'll do is we'll slide that in right over here and push that closed. If it's in all the way, we'll be able to move it like that. If it's sticking out, we'll be able to spin it. Just go ahead, push it in all the way. Now we're good to go. Here we are again, the Fifine Ampligame H9 gaming headsets. They're plug and play, so they'll work with PC, Mac, PlayStation, Switch, all that good stuff. Along the side over here, detachable microphone, locking adjustable headband, comfort soft material, and cozy earmuffs. Nothing along the top over here. Here we can see the 3.5mm connector, which plugs into the controller over here. Mic switch button, headset volume increase button, headset volume reduction, increase button here, 7.1 surround sound effect, mic volume reduction button, durable headset cable, inline USB control, but I'm boring you with that. So let's go ahead, open it up. Starting off, we have the Fifine H9 user's guide, just how to connect it, how to use it, all that good stuff, which we're going to go over in this video as well. And so then we have the headphones right over here with their little accessories thing. Actually, this one is separate, so that's nice. So we'll get to the headphones in 1 second. Here we'll start off with the accessories. So nothing else in there. Here we have, first off, the omnidirectional condenser microphone. It is detachable, and we can see right over here also the rubber kind of coated material here and ribbed as well. And the microphone, and this one is movable. It is a little looser than the previous one, but that's not a big deal. And then we have the cable. Let me measure this real quick, 1 sec. So this portion of the cable is 80 inches. Starting off from over here, this is USB 2.0. Coming down here, this is braided as well. Nice tight gray braiding. And then over here we have the clip, so you can clip it onto your belt, your shirt, wherever you might want to clip it onto. Over here we have to raise and lower the headphones level, raise and lower the microphone level, enable or disable the 7.1 surround sound. Here is where the cable that comes from the headphones will plug into. Then we can unmute and mute the microphone here, and nothing on this side. Then we have the headphones themselves. These, like the other pair, feel pretty light. And let me measure this one real quick, 1 sec. Now from over here all the way to the very end, to the very tip over here, is 42 inches. So it is pretty long. Then we'll come all the way to the headphones. So these feel a little looser than the previous ones, but they still feel nice. We have the headband that comes over here with that cable that connects into the ear cups themselves. And this one has that little smile, darker than the previous one. This also feels like that aluminum kind of material. And these do swivel like the previous one. Although this one has a kind of a cutout so that you can see exactly how you should plug it in. We should plug it in like that. See, so the other way, it wouldn't fit in. So just makes it a little bit nicer. Not a big deal, but kind of cool. So whereas before we had the L here, which we still do, we have the L over here, R over here, and R over here. So while it still has that same mesh with a little cushion in the back actually, and we have the L on there, these ear cups feel a little bit more durable than the previous ear cups. So, and they feel a little bit more cushy as well. So that is very nice. These seem to be a little bit higher quality, and let's weigh these as well. All right, and like we did before, just weighing these out real quick. 326 grams. So these are a little tiny bit lighter than the H6 headphones, so that is nice. These have an impedance of 32 ohms and a headset sensitivity of 95 dB with a bit depth of 16-bit and 48 kilohertz sample rate. The microphone sensitivity is negative 42 dB, and the headset frequency response is 20 hertz up to 20 kilohertz. And the headphone drivers are 50 millimeters dynamic as well. So let's go see how it sounds on the PC. So like a regular headphone and microphone combo, we're going to plug it in USB front or rear. Then we're going to enable or disable 7.1. This is disabled, and that is enabled. Red is enabled, and black like that is disabled or no light. Along the side over here, we have 3 options. We have the film option, we have the gaming option, and we have the music option. You can see with the little indentations here. So film, music, and gaming. That little red indicator tells you where you're at. Now over here is for microphone. Down is open, meaning you can hear when you talk into the microphone, and up is when the microphone is disabled. So we're gonna go ahead, open it up, and we're going to select movie. I seem to get the best audio off of movie. Now I'm gonna put these on. One thing I want you to realize is there are little lights right over here on the top, and those little lights shine so bright that you can see them here on the headband. You see those lights moving around? That's me moving the ear cups. There is RGB alongside here. You cannot control the RGB. There is no software. It looks cool, and it's gonna stay that way during the whole time you use these headphones. Then here is that microphone. You're gonna see how good this sounds. It's pretty amazing. So putting these on, they cover my entire ear. If you have bigger ears, which I feel like sometimes it falls in there, not always, your ear is gonna slip right up here. So it'll be covered no matter what. And these are little cushiony ear pads here, not incredibly cushiony, but there's a little teeny tiny cushion. There is some felt material there. It's nice as it is. This band does help a little tiny bit, although because I'm bald, I sweat a little tiny bit. I've used this for quite some time already. These are comfortable, but I feel like they kind of press a little hard on my head, but there's more coming soon. First, we're gonna make sure that we are set up for it. So I'll click the little speaker right over here. And first off, we saw when we hovered over it that it read Fifine right here, Fifine headset, 6%. But if we click right over here, we can see that we're select for the speakers being the Fifine headset. If we come over here to more volume settings, we can see that the microphone is set to Fifine headset microphone. So all that good stuff. We can see that we're talking right over here, and we can lower the volume and raise the volume from the little toggle right over here. You see me raising the volume on the OSD there, and then we can disable the mic from here so we're not talking, and then same way we can raise and lower, but no matter what, this is going to tell you how loud you are. Coming back over here, you can see we're on the speakers, the Fifine headset speakers. So everything is going to come out of here, not my monitor. That's just showing you how to switch between them. So if I close this out and we'll go to voice real quick, we'll go to the sound recorder. I'm going to record my sound, my voice, so that you can hear how clear these headphones are. Okay, so now I come back over here and we'll listen to it real quick. I'm going to record my sound, my voice, so that you can hear how clear these headphones are. Okay, so that sounded great. There was a little hiss in the background. So let's see if we can get rid of that real quick. So we'll come over under here and we'll lower this. Since we see it doesn't need to be that loud, let's drop it to right about here. And my voice never goes that high. So that should help there a little tiny bit. So I'll close that out. Now I want to see how my voice sounds with the microphone being a little lower. So that definitely did take a hit. So I'm gonna go ahead and just bump that back. We're gonna hear a little tiny bit of that background noise, but out of every microphone I've tested, you can check with all my videos, and I feel like I've said that on every video, but this has been the best. It's not too bassy, it's not too trebly, it sounds perfect. The little hiss is not incredibly noticeable to me, but because I've recorded so long, I can hear it. So let's jump into a quick game. The reason I'm jumping into a game is I want to see how the 7.1 disabled sounds versus 7.1 enabled, and then switch between the different sound levels as well, or the sound profiles. All right, so here again, we are in cinema or movie with 7.1 enabled. I feel like we get the best sound there, and I wasn't aiming, so I have a hard time killing people if I don't aim. The sound sounds louder when 7.1 is enabled. I heard somebody over here.
I am reloading.
All right, so play with 7.1 audio disabled. Things sound a little deeper, a little more muzzled. Definitely not bad.
Changing mags.
Just more muzzled.
Taking
Nice.
objective. I am reloading.
Not doing too bad. 7.1 versus none, and the different profiles, again, I found the movie profile to be the best. Let me switch to gaming real quick. All right, so I'm on gaming now. But because I'm not on 7.1, I feel like it's a little more muzzled or muffled, so I'm gonna enable 7.1. Now things sound a little more clear, and it doesn't sound like generated or anything. It just sounds more clear. By generated, I mean it doesn't sound like it's fake audio. It definitely sounds like what I'm playing. Gaming sounded good, but not as good as movie. Now I switched to music, and this sounds a little more flat. I don't know why I feel like they should all sound a little bit better. I guess I'm tuned to having my preference on those. So the headphones sounded great. Again, the best profile was the movie profile. I felt like that gave you the best audio, the best highs, the best lows, especially movie audio with 7.1 enabled. I found it impressive. I like the fact that you can raise and lower the volume here, but you can only raise it and lower it for your sound, not for your microphone. So let me test real quick the music. Let's go for battery remastered. I am under music, so I'm going to switch over to gaming, movie, music. You would think for music it would sound better with music, and then gaming, you hear it go up. And then movie, you hear it go up and everything sounds much more clear. One sec, let me listen to more of this. I gotta lower it, it is a bit loud. 7.1 is enabled, wow. Turning off 7.1, I felt like it dropped a little bit more. When you go to music, it drops more. Gaming raises and movie raises and it sounds much more full. Aside from this, mind you, I have listened to this for quite some time. I love my music, and I've selected the highest possible audio on Spotify, which, you know, it's not going to be the highest quality period, but you know, for what we have, it works. So if I come over here, and so I switch this to streaming quality, very high. So that's as good as you're going to get it. And playing with the music, everything sounds beautiful. Switching to music, or movies, sorry, with 7.1 enabled, sounds the best out of any of the sounds. So they've really tuned it to movies. So that's pretty cool. Now let's switch over to H9s and see how that sounds in all the same scenarios. All right, so these are the H9s. I'm gonna go ahead, plug those in right over here. Now on these are a little tiny bit different. They will also have the 3.5 millimeter connection to over here instead of the straight connection. So you can always change this if you need to. Microphone over here is on. Click it down, it's off. Over here we have separate channels for raising the volume for the headphones and raising the volume and lowering the volume for the microphone, though we still have the same 7.1 enabled or disabled, and then nothing over here. And then we do have a little shirt clip or belt clip, so we can put that wherever we like. Comes in handy sometimes. So let's go see how it sounds. Putting on the H9s already, these are much more comfortable. I don't have so much pressure on my head, so I like the way that feels already. My ears already fall into the ear cups already, same as the others, that your ears will slide into here if your ears are too big, and the same comfort up here as well. But the fact that they're not pushing in on my head like the H6 was, I like the H9s a little bit better. And then also this should help the audio as well, especially because we don't have to deal with any profiles. So let's see how this sounds real quick. Like we did for the H9s, we'll come over here to the speaker and click over here. We can already see we're selected for speakers for the Fifine headset, and under more volume settings, we can see microphone is already selected for Fifine headset, and we can see we're talking here. Now we're at 64 here. We can raise it. We already see that we're louder than we were before. Now if I raise it right over here, I don't know if that's going to make me sound any louder or any lower. You see it's now moving the volume right over here, so I can't tell. Now raising the volume over here for the headphones, you can see that the OSD down here and the screen right on here, it goes up and down. 44 is about good, so we'll leave it here. Everything looks fine here. If we go back onto voice, we'll do voice recorder. This time we're wearing the H9 headphones, so they feel a little better on my head. How do they sound? All right, so we recorded there, and let's see. This time we're wearing the H9 headphones, so they feel a little better on my head. How do they sound? So the sound already there seems a little bit higher. Now, I don't know if that's because we raised the volume on the mic here. We didn't see it go up there, but I feel like this one sounds already a little bit better. So we'll close out of there, and let's see how Call of Duty sounds real quick. I am going to enable the 7.1. Again, there is no software to install, and so enabled or disabled, so the testing should be a little shorter. All right, so already I hear all the little gas right over here coming out. So I like the way that sounds, beautiful. Not to say I won't hear it before, but oh, where did he come from? All right, so I'm already liking the audio much better on the H9, especially because I don't need to switch between profiles. Payback. You know what they say about payback. All right, now I'm turning off 7.1. Now without 7.1, obviously we don't get as good as positional audio as we would with it enabled. It still sounds great, and it feels like different levels have different types of audio. There's no such thing as a friendly mosquito. All right, so in Call of Duty, they sounded amazing. This level in particular, maybe the other one is a little bit different audio-wise, but I still felt that with 7.1, it sounded better. So plop, like that, definitely it sounds much better. That way it still sounds good, just not as good as that. And then especially since we don't have to deal with all those profiles, that's a little bit less of a hassle we need to deal with. So already I'm thinking these are going to be a lot better, especially for the fact that they don't make my head hurt when they're on my head. They don't feel like they're crushing it. But anyway, the other advantage of this is the fact that you can disconnect it. You can connect it to your Switch, to your PlayStation, but I do have a Switch and a PS5. Let's go see on those real quick. So for a PS5, we connect the 3.5 millimeter to the connection right down here on the controller. Then from the screen, it will come under sound, and then we'll switch over here to controller headset, adjust microphone level. I can hear myself talk and it sounds great. All right, so I don't need to play with this. So let's start a quick game. Let's go to Spider-Man. Now from within Spider-Man, I'm gonna hit this button here to start recording video. So now we are recording video, and in a second, I'm gonna hear everything coming from here, which I already am. It sounds great, and you're gonna see it on here. Let's go ahead and continue. All right, so I am hearing everything from the headphones. Since we don't have the controller connected to this, we can't really raise the volume. It is what it is, and there's no way to control it on here as well. We need to control it all from within the settings. So we'll come under here, and then let's raise the volume a little tiny bit. It's just a little low. Okay, much better. So the sound, it doesn't sound amazing. The sound sounds kind of muffled out in the game. Let me see if there's anything I can do in the audio real quick. So there's nothing we can change here. Microphone, it sounds good, I think. We'll see in a little bit. Oh, well, yeah, sounds great. So it doesn't sound bad. I just felt like it sounded a lot better on the PC, but that's because we had the USB controller and we didn't have to rely on 3.5 millimeter audio. Anyway, I was just playing real quick, but we can see just how it sounded. It didn't sound horrible, but it didn't sound as good as it did on the PC. Now, coming off of the PS5, we're not done with the consoles just yet. Now, using the connection on the H9s, the 3.5 millimeter connection, we can connect it to a Switch right over here, and we don't need to bug anybody. We have our own personal console, and we have our own music as well for the console, and everything is going to sound perfectly fine. And we can play like Super Smash Brothers or whatever without bugging anybody else. The sound is all ours, and the experience is all ours as well. The big part for me is I don't want to bug anybody with my game or whatever I do on my Switch or my whatever console. Sounds much better on the Switch through 3.5 millimeter than it did on 3.5 millimeter on the PS5. So that is a little interesting. The H6 versus the H9, a bit confusing. You would expect there to be a tremendous difference. Plus, you would expect the H9 to be more expensive than the H6. Go figure, they're kind of vice versa. But from my testing and everything, I find the H9 better. Though it is lacking a few things the H6 has. But anyway, so Let's run down the list. RGB. The H6 has RGB while the H9 does not. You cannot turn off the RGB. You cannot change the RGB. You have that, that's all you're gonna get. You better like it, because if not, you gotta put tape, you gotta put Sharpie, you gotta put something to block it, and then that one as well. But again, I don't mind the RGBs. I kind of like them. The H9 has the detachable USB to 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. That way you can put it on your PC, take it on your console, do whatever you'd like with it. The H6 only has USB. Now mind you, you can plug in USB on the PS5 and the Switch, which I did not show in this video. I only showed it on the 3.5 because it is much more versatile to be able to use the 3.5. USB, you need a long cable unless you're playing with everything right here, and that gets annoying after a while. I think the H9 definitely has the advantage there over the H6. The microphone on the H9 and the H6 are almost identical. I prefer the H9. There is the white noise aspect, although that may be considered noise cancellation because it's not horrible white noise. It's a very, very, very faint. You have to pay attention to it closely so that you can hear a, but again, it's very, very, very faint. Noise canceling on the H9 versus the H6, almost identical. I didn't really hear anything more or anything less with and without noise cancellation. It's just always on. I think it's more the fact that it is kind of sealed over your ears and you don't really hear outside noise. I can hear it a little bit, and then the wife and the kids, I can still hear it a little bit with and without the headphones, but it's not true noise cancellation. They both have it, but it's not mind-blowing cancellation, especially not for the price. They both have 7.1 surround sound, and while it is gimmicky on basically every pair of headphones, because there's impossible to give you true surround sound on stereo headsets unless you have the ear cups going everywhere, and that's still not going to work correct if you think about it, of course. Implementation was better on the H9 versus the H6. The H6, sorry, had the part that you were supposed to listen to clear, while the rest was a little muffled out. Not horribly distorted, but you can hear clearer for things that you were kind of listening out for, or things that made closer noise, if that makes sense. The 7.1 sounded okay on both of them. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad either. The sound, no matter what, was great on both. Now, the pressure that these gave me. The H6 gave me a lot of pressure on my head. It felt like it was squeezing my head a little bit more, or a lot more than the H9s were. The H9s, no matter what, they were incredibly comfortable. They sat perfectly over my head. These, I felt like, created more of a suction. They were over my head first off, like these were, but I felt like they pushed in a little bit more, and I felt like it created more of a suction between my ears and the cups, so that if I released it, I felt like it's not that way at all, but it felt that way. It could have been because of the pressure. If I wear these too long, I do get a headache. That's not the case with the H9s. The H9s, the entire time I wear them, I felt perfectly fine, and that was after multiple days. Each day I wore these, I would have a headache for quite some time afterwards. They still sound great, but I felt like they pushed really far in my head. Now, one obvious way around that is just to do that for a little while, and that's gonna help, but I don't think you should have to do that. Regardless, this one had more pressure than the H9s did. Aside from the pressure aspect, they were both incredibly comfortable. You could wear them for a long time, and the only thing that bothered me, because I'm bald, is you sweat a little bit up here, but I never really sweat too much along my ears or along the back. On both, that was nice. I touched on the RGB earlier, but again, these have RGB that you can't change, and these are just nothing there. They still look pretty and everything, but what you have to remember with RGB and with everything, when they're like this, you don't see them. You might see this from the side of your eye a little bit, but you don't see your ear cups, no matter what. You see this is the same as this. I don't see them. So don't worry too much about RGB. Even in the dark, if you have other things that are RGB, these aren't going to make much of a difference at all. They both have the same braided cable, which is a nice tight braid. Definitely nothing wrong with that. The H9 and the H6 all come in white, black, and pink. So that's my review on both of those. Again, I prefer the H9s over the H6s. Now, I use these mainly on PCs. If you want to check out this video on how to build a budget-friendly $700 PC, click on that link and you won't be disappointed. Iggy with ThisBytesForYou out. See you guys.